trying to knock it off, but never did quite right because they didn't get what they were doing at Apple. So anyway, do you think Apple fears IBM or anybody else? No. As soon as your idea is stolen from you, you redesign. Okay? And then that's how you keep taking care of your business and growing your business, redesign. In 1976 to 82, Apple's sales continued up. When IBM came in and stole Apple's idea in 82, 83, what happened to Apple's sales when they stole their ideas?
They went up.
That's right. He knows. Everybody says, of course, when IBM comes and steals your product, your sales will drop. No, their sales skyrocketed. Did you ever read a dot-com business plan during the dot-com era? If you did, every single one of them said, we will have hockey stick sales growth. Saying we have no sales, we don't perceive in the future any sales, but at some point they will shoot up. All referring back to Apple. Oh, we're going to do what Apple did. We're going to have no sales for a long time, and then it's going to shoot up. Okay? Well, when Apple was going along, growing year after year after year, when IBM stole their idea, Apple's sales shot straight up. How can you have your idea stolen from you and have your sales shoot up? How does that happen?
Marketing?
Something along those lines. You've got, this is Apple's market in 1982. Nobody would touch a toy computer. Okay? Nobody in business, nobody in banking, nobody in education, nobody in the government would touch a toy computer. Once IBM comes in and says the microcomputer is a legitimate business tool, then everybody wants a microcomputer, and IBM offers it. Well, what happens is there's two choices. There's IBM and there's Mac. Well, enough people in that huge new market now will come in and buy Macintoshes to have a huge increase in their sales. So IBM got 88% of this new market and Apple got 12%, but that 12% of the brand new market was massively larger than Apple's original given market. Does that make sense? Okay. So one of the best things that can happen to you is to have your ideas stolen from you in the real world. Okay? All right. So enough on that. Now, okay, so going back to here, let's go back and finish up this graph here. We're competing on design. Okay? We agreed on that, not on price. And we are worried when we go into international trade about, rules, regulations, customs, guns, dogs, all that kind of stuff, right? This can be dangerous. Well, we don't worry about that at all in importing. We refer all that off to service sector people that handle all this for us. In particular, private companies called customs brokers. They're businesses, private companies, licensed by the federal government to fill out the paperwork required by the federal government to bring products into the United States. Okay? So, along with these, there's the airlines and the steamship lines. There are the insurance carriers. There are the bankers. You will not be getting finance from banking, but you may need a payment mechanism via the banks. You may need to buy foreign currency from banks. So the banks are involved in this too. And then there are government agencies. If you like governments, you're going to love this business because it is government intensive. Every U.S. government agency seems to have an interest in what crosses the docks. Happily, there's one government agency that represents all the others, and that's U.S. Customs Service. So you get a customs broker that represents you to the U.S. Customs Service. The customs brokers, when I started 35 years ago, only filled out the paperwork, and that's how they made their money. No longer. They'll give you the paperwork for free. Here's that free price again. It's going to be a theme. Free. They'll give you that for free if you will let them handle the logistical end of the business. Getting your umbrellas out of the factory in Singapore onto the ship across the Pacific, off the docks in Tacoma, and then ship it to your customers in the United States. If you let them handle that all for you so that you don't have to, then they will give you all that paperwork for free. They'll make it all happen real easy, painlessly for you. Singapore to Atlanta, customer in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay? Now, whether or not you do that, we'll look at later. And if you do it, it'll be along the lines of smorgasbord probably. Well, I'll do this, you do that, something like that. We'll look at that more in detail. So these people are, in effect, one of your continuing education structures after this course, and even during this course. So you'll talk to them about the rules, the regulations, the permits, the costs, the logistics, everything involved in getting your product from there to here to sell to your customers. So they'll teach you that for free. And it will be specific to your product. Yours is different from his, so you need to talk to different people about different things. So you're going to learn all that. You're going to become expert in your narrow area. Then, where they make their money is when the transaction takes place, when the goods are on the dock. This is after you have enough orders to cover the supplier's minimum and to warrant bringing the goods in. So after that, when the goods are on the dock in the process of getting them to your customers, that's when you'll pay these people. Who they are, how you work with them, how you find them, I'll lay out during this course. What you talk to them about, when you talk to them, I'll lay this out in the course later. So there's that. Now we got to the problem of, if we're importing, we'll talk more about exporting later, but if we're importing, we got to find the best place in the world to have the product made. I'll show you that later. That often yields you what's called an agent. Okay? This is the ocean. You're here in the United States. The agent is overseas. Okay? And the agent often, not in all cases, but often, and the agent actually represents factories. And this is the surprising thing. I don't know why they don't make this clear, but Nike doesn't make any shoes. Nike has no factories. Nike does not have the skill set within Nike to make 50 million pairs of shoes a year. Nike designs and markets. When you do your business, you'll design and market. Nike turns over the manufacturing to experts in manufacturing overseas. Vietnam came to Nike. Nike didn't go to Vietnam. Okay, that's how these things work. Okay, so agents, Kao Chen Corporation, which is the agent for Nike and Reebok and Avia and Puma and Norsport and Brooks and everybody else, they take the designs and they put them in the best place in the world. And let's say this is in Vietnam, in the factory. In the factory, they don't speak English. In the factory, all they know how to do is make excellent shoes to specification at a fair price. So often in international trade, it's an agent representing the factory. Whether there's an agent or a factory, we don't care. And we don't even really need to know. But whether we work with an agent or a factory, all depends on what does everybody else do. Avia, Puma, Reebok, Norsport all work with Kao Chen. You work with Kao Chen. Nike works with Kao Chen. Everybody works with Kao Chen. We all go to the same place. When we talk about product, I'll get into this more later. But we all go to the same place to have the product made because that's the best. Okay? So, more on that later. Now,